AI agents are on everyone's mind at the moment. Everyone's talking about them. They seem to be in the papers. You can't pick up an article without reading about it. But if I'm in an enterprise and I'm responsible for a particular application or workflow or integration project coming up, or I want to improve something, how do I start? Where do I start with AI? And how do I know that it will improve what I'm trying to do? My name is Adrian Wright, and I am CEO and founder of Estafet. And I'm here with Branimir Angelov, who is enterprise architect. And we're going to talk specifically about this problem. And it's really giving you an idea of how to start, what to do, and where to end up just before you go into production. We're going to focus on those particular topics. Branny, welcome. So I'm a project manager or an architect. I've got a number of tasks that I think need improvement, maybe some workflows or some applications, and everyone's talking about AI. What do I do? How do I know if AI is applicable to any of my, work stream?
Yeah, it's very good question, because you touch these workflows and applications. So the applications usually is something that you sell to your end customers, and that's a very sensitive area for your business when it comes to quality and performance. And this is where the AI adoption is always a kind of a hurdle. But on the other hand, the workflow is something that is very often part of let's say a larger value chain, or is something internally facing. And actually what I would say is that starting your AI journey from the workflow makes much more sense. It's much more lower risk for your business.
And just give me an idea of what type of workflow would suit an AI application versus one that you think maybe definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, so in that sense, the workflows, let's say that they have different steps. They might require some human interaction in some of those steps. And when it comes to the first thing to do is to make an analysis of actually the different steps in this workflow, the problems that they solve. Are they bounded problems or unbounded problems? When you have the human interaction, usually it's an unbounded problem. And this is where GenAI is something that can be used as an AI architecture. On the other hand, the bounded problems are also quite interesting nowadays to be solved with AI, because in the recent years there are a lot of improvements in the AI models that are used for bounded problems. And that's another set of interesting tools that you can use.
Yeah.
So the first step, would be to classify different problems that you have in your workflow.
Actually, let's classify for everyone the sort of different types of AI in your mind, just the categories, so that when we're talking about them, people understand whether it's an LLM you're talking about, or maybe the other sorts, AI.
Yeah, so for a company that is really in the beginning, you can easily use a very kind of, let's say, a high-level category. Mm-hmm. So the GenAI, and these are like the transformer models, which are quite popular nowadays. They are really used to process unstructured data and to really put them into more unbounded type of problems. Mm-hmm. And the more traditional models, which are the traditional, for example, convolutional network architectures for neural networks, or like, for example, the typical machine learning problems that we have been talking in the last years, they're more suited for bounded problems like classification, optical character recognition, identification, and such kinds of problems. And these models actually, the transformer architecture have been used in the last years also to improve these type of models as well. So I would say that nowadays, when you start your AI journey, it makes sense to look into both categories, because there are new developments in both categories.
Okay. And what about just talk to me about, if I've got something with very little data versus maybe an application or a workflow with, a lot of data attached to it. Would that sway your mind as to where AI would be useful from a current technology perspective to improving it with AI?
Yes, so that's a very good way of thinking. So nowadays, with large language models and this kind of very deep kind of neural networks, you have actually the ability to use those models into workflows and domains with very little data, because they have a lot of fundamental knowledge. So you can start with those large models, and very often they can solve your problem with the sufficient, let's say, prompting, how it's being called nowadays, or with even some fine-tuning. You can really solve a problem with for which you have a very small amount of data. Of course, if you have much more data, then you can think about actually training your own model that could be based on some fundamental model architecture, or you can even fine-tune some of the open source models.
Okay, and what type of system would you say that is definitely not suitable to AI? Where would you, what characteristics would it have?
So I'm going to answer this question from the business perspective, from risk management perspective. So I would say that if you're an enterprise or a company that is recently starting the adoption of AI, basically any sort of problem or area that is really facing your core business or your core customers, and you don't have the capability of actually measuring the quality of the solution that you provide, so you don't have these AI or machine learning capabilities in your organization, then I would say that these areas are high risk areas, and I wouldn't recommend to start your adoption in these areas.
Yeah. What about if you look at an application and it is, currently fairly straightforward, I don't know, maybe if then else logic or something that is, very deterministic, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Is there anything there that AI can help with, or would you say, look, it's not a great application because the benefit won't be huge?
Well, it really depends here, because if you have the benefit of these deterministic workflows is that usually you can measure very well the input and the outcome of those steps. And if you have such kind of workflow existing in your kind of value chain, and if you can get the right metrics, the benefit is that by utilizing AI and specifically GenAI to actually automate those steps, you can really well benchmark the performance and have a very solid business case of whether you want to take this further. But on the other hand, here it's very important to analyze the degree of automation that you have in those deterministic workflows. If it's very high, and if it doesn't involve any human, then probably, and the quality is good for you, then probably this will be an area where we can easily see that it will be hard to really get a business case of adoption.
So we're looking for cases that, complexity isn't a problem, but where you see a clear business case in terms of automation, efficiency, and I guess quality as well, then we get more interested in AI. If the quality of the system is quite high at the moment and the automation is good, and as you say, there's no human involvement, then that would lower the chance of AI being able to improve that process. Thanks, Branny. It's great.